I am the Reverend Rita Capezzi, serving the holy and our Unitarian Universalist faith with the people of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Mankato, Minnesota. And I am a proud member of the MUUSJA Board since August 2019. Spirit of life unfolding, of love never ending, be with us and among us as we gather for celebration and witness this evening. Be with us as we acknowledge that no matter from where in the United States we join this meeting, we meet where Indigenous people were killed and driven away, lands stolen and many lives lost. And still, Euro-Americans and Indigenous people live and love and work side by side, right here, right now, wherever you are. May we follow the wisdom and be good relatives. Spirit of life and love, be with us this evening as we honor risk-taking and persistent action, grateful for all our opportunities to work together, bending the arc of the universe toward justice. May we have the fortitude to persevere when we meet resistance, the strength to reflect and regroup when we fail, the humility to listen for new and better direction. May we strive to learn and learn to thrive and rest when we are weary, trusting that others emerge to take our places. Spirit of life and love, be with us as we plod and prod, as we march to unsettle the powerful, as we write to encourage the disenfranchised, as we call ourselves and each other ever back to our common humanity. And as we build together the world of justice about which we dream, may we be relentless, may we be courageous, may we follow the lead of love. Blessed be. And amen.
Welcome to MUUSJA'S 2020 annual meeting. From our board, our staff, 31 congregations, 64 partners, our UUSC and UUFP generous donors, and 480 plus volunteers. We welcome you and thank you. This is how we used to worship. We would gather and rally and march for the climate and for youth voices, intergenerational pride all over the state. We ordained, discerned, discussed, served, celebrated. We gathered and appreciated and advocated. Last year, MUUSJA celebrated with cake. We had conversations and awards and music and dancing and swag. And we were ahead of our time. We began the year with our racial justice focus and gathered to create climate justice, and then COVID hit. We continued to serve northern Minnesota, gathering with Indigenous peoples for climate justice. We were told to stay home if we had that privilege. And we had to cancel the Islamophobia conference, the women's retreat, and our Minnetonka INITC Protecting the Sacred. But we pivoted and went to St. Cloud and car rallied for justice for the workers there. When George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis, we mourned and marched and committed to fight for justice. We began to UU the vote, and we mobilized for the census. With the League of Women Voters, we distributed lawn signs, we mobilized children and families. Voter registration at United Theological Seminary. We posted voter information and answered innumerable emails. We sent out 39,000 postcards and letters to voters across the country and worked here in Minnesota on phone banking, text banking, social media campaigns, and with Love, Vote, Rise, postering in small markets and bat signaling across our region, northern Minnesota. We worked with the UUA and we're still fighting for Georgia. In 2021, we will move forward, continuing the work for justice and for love, against Islamophobia, against racism, protecting children at the border and people with vulnerabilities across the state. We will fight for the planet and the human rights impacted and for death with dignity. MUUSJA'S about justice and joy. Madeleine L'Engle says that joy in existence without which the world would fall apart. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this work. Thank you for being MUUSJA.
Hi, this is Reverend Luke from First UU Church in Rochester. The poet Marge Piercy reminds us that justice work begins when we say we, and we know who we mean, and each day we mean one more. That's what our tradition always calls us to, is ever-expanding circles of justice and equity and inclusion, always learning as we go. And one of the ways we know how to do that is by showing up consistently in your community, whatever it's doing, providing meals, donating resources, advocacy, going to city council meetings, showing up for protests. I've been proud of the work at First UU Rochester, in part because there are such long relationships that people have built in this community. People have been showing up again and again at organizations in Rochester and beyond to show that they're not there just for charity work, they're there for the long haul of justice work, decades of support. And so often that's what it takes. There are moments where there are threshold moments where we show up for some large change, and so often the only way that change sustains is when people keep coming again and again. They notice people, and they hear their stories, and they pay attention, and their heart is changed because of that. I hope that that determination and that commitment to keep showing up in our own congregation, in our wider movement, and in our wider communities, interfaith communities, community activists, the ways that we gather beyond just our own interests. I hope that we continue to understand new ways to not only do charity work, but justice work, asking about the root causes and showing up again and again to build those relationships for the long haul, so that when we say we, each day that circle expands more and more and more. So in gratitude for the work members here at First UU have done, members at congregations across Minnesota and our country, and all those who are trying to build a more just and equitable world, I say thank you, and let's keep up the good work.
Family Promise of Rochester was launched in 1999 as an interfaith hospitality network of Greater Rochester, after a group of caring individuals saw the need to provide shelter, meals, and comprehensive assistance to homeless families in the Rochester, Minnesota area. Our church has helped Family Promise of Rochester for close to 20 years. We have 40 volunteers who offer their services. This year started out as usual with us hosting a few families as evening and overnight hosts, providing meals and transportation. Then COVID shut down the churches. So for our assigned week in May, our volunteers simply delivered meals and supplies to the families who were housed in a rental apartment and so on. And we're very happy to be part of an institution that transformed the lives of homeless families.
I'm Paula Horner, a member of the AIM team, Accessibility and Inclusion Ministry. We are an AIM certified congregation within the UUA and the fourth congregation to achieve this designation. We started the year by updating our outside signage, replacing the word handicapped with accessible, and using the universal symbol for disability on all signs. In January, we hosted a workshop to the congregation presented by Dementia Friends Minnesota. Through exercises and interactions, attendees learned communication skills, 5 key messages, and turning understanding into action. Ongoing advocacy for improved accessibility within the church culminated in a ramp being built in our sanctuary up to the chancel.
Welcome to Hawthorne Help's story. Sandy McLaughlin, granddaughter of Italian immigrants and program coordinator, speaking. My first generation mother was forced to quit school after 8th grade and support herself. She completed her GED proudly at age 45. That is why I volunteer with Hawthorne Helps. Our first UU social justice outreach began in 2015, partnering with Rochester Public Schools and Hawthorne Education Center, and has grown with support from local faith, community, and business groups. HEC is an adult education center serving over 500 students in normal times. Our mission offers support that affirms personal dignity, welcomes newcomers to our city, and encourages all students' educational success. Our service: UU staff and stock a free store with items that SNAP does not cover. More than a store, we are a cheering team. Behind-the-scene jobs include accounting, advertising, coordinating with community partners, grant writing, tech support, public speaking, shopping, sorting, tallying, and tracking inventory. Over 125 UUs ages 2 to 90 have been a part of Hawthorne Helps. Please know that students express appreciation that seems to go way beyond toothpaste, toilet paper, and dish soap. Why? We hope because our message is clear. You are welcome here.
We are Paula Ulisny Halverson and Kay Slama.
We are the social justice co-chairs at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Wilmer.
2 areas of focus this year have been climate justice and UU the Vote.
Our program committee focused on climate and environmental justice for the entire 2019 to 20 year. So every month we had at least one service on that theme. In addition, we added an enviro moment to every session and every service. They ranged from showing a short Greta Thunberg video to a short reading on the impact of nature experience on mental wellness. This year, many of our programs have focused on racial justice, and the discussions have been most interesting. Our Wilmer area congregation also engages in many community service efforts, including staffing the Family Promise Homelessness Program.
We have been active in UU the Vote activities such as postcard writing, texting, and phone banking, as well as reaching out to our members and friends of the church to check on their well-being and encouraging participation in the November election and census. We have also supported the efforts of the Wilmer Interfaith Network, which works to create opportunities for the diverse members of our community to come together.
Hello, my name is Cindy Marsh, and I'm a member of First Universalist Church of Minneapolis. Our congregation has been involved with MUUSJA since its inception in 2006. First Universalist has a long tradition of social justice work over our 160-year history. In the recent decade, though, we've focused very explicitly on racial justice through education, self-reflection, advocacy, and relationship building in the community. Part of this work is guided by a racial justice education team. I've personally been challenged and grown through participation in many workshops, courses, and small groups. A board-appointed change team strives to eliminate white supremacy and systemic racism within our own walls. As a trustee, I learned that our board tries to look at all decisions through a racial justice lens. This is hard. We've made progress along with mistakes and know that this is a lifelong process and journey. As a UU, I believe that we are called to live our values and that faithful action is part of our spiritual growth and development. I'm pleased to be a member of our Faithful Action Council. Using a racial justice lens, we identify and work through community partnerships, organizations in the community that share our vision of a more racially just and loving world. We have active partnerships focused on the intersection of racial justice and environmental justice, housing justice, and sanctuary and resistance. Most recently, our council has looked to identify and support emerging organizations that are led by people of color and to make sure that we listen to and follow these leaders. Not an easy task for what UUs. We've recently added a new partner, a Lafayette Foundation, part of the Center for Leadership and Neighborhood Engagement on the North Side. The Alafia Fellows are visionary, not-for-profit, small business, and social entrepreneurs who live and work in the community, transforming life in North Minneapolis. This is an amazing organization, and I'm so excited to contribute in even a small way and see where this partnership can go over the coming years. How can MUUSJA help us? I think MUUSJA supports us by linking our efforts across congregations for greater impact in our community and the world. For example, take the UU The Vote Project. I'm personally writing postcards as we speak to get out the vote for the Georgia runoff. Thank you, MUUSJA, for your guidance and inspiration.
The Minnesota Northwood Unitarian Universalist Fellowship was certified in 1983 with 14 members. We continue to be a small but persistent liberal religious presence in the Brainerd Lakes area. Through the Adopt a Highway program, our website, and social action, we make our presence known. Our most sustained social action project has been our Native American initiative, starting in 2010, which included donating a collection of truth-telling books by and about Native Americans to the local public libraries and the Brainerd Community College, and developing a resolution on the condition of the original Native American people, which we shared with and presented at many area churches. We continued focusing on Native American issues, the Doctrine of Discovery in 2012 and Goodbye Columbus in 2015. NUF won the MUUSJA Congregation Justice Award in 2016 for these Native American initiatives. We have participated in many actions and events with the White Earth group Honor the Earth, helping with dinners and picnics in our area. NUF has always shared outdoor activities, especially in our early years when many members had young children. We canoed local lakes and rivers, camped at small campgrounds, biked at Itasca, and even had a multiple family canoe trip in the Boundary Waters. We always have a picnic every month in the summer and a winter solstice outdoor walk and bonfire. We have never had our own church, but have rented space in at least 10 different buildings over the years, from Deep Portage in Hackensack to the Senior Center in Brainerd. Therefore, we have no special connection to any one place where we meet. Our connections persist wherever and however we congregate, these days virtually and often in the Church of the Great Outdoors.
Hi, I'm Reverend Laura Smitzik from Michael Servetus Society in Fridley. I want to show my gratitude to MUUSJA for the work they've been doing this year with particularly UU the Vote. I know a number of us in our congregation were feeling rather powerless when it came to this upcoming election that just passed, and I have to say that having the ability to particularly engage in the postcard writing was something that really brought a number of us alive and helped us feel engaged. I know that for several weeks after the initial wave of postcards, we were frequently saying to one another, "Your vote is your voice and your power," which were the last 3 words on those postcards. So we had 2 people at our congregation working hard on this, Kathy Burek, who also serves on the UUA's Board of Trustees, and our ministerial intern, Lisa Myers. And it was through their work and the work of collaborating with MUUSJA and UU the Vote that really made a difference for us this fall. So thank you once again.
Hi, my name is Jane Bacon, and I represent the Social Action Committee at the White Bear UU Church in Matamidi, Minnesota, which is located about 15 miles northeast of St. Paul. Church members are involved in direct service activities, as well as actions to bring about structural changes and increase social and environmental justice. We work closely with our local food shelves and also provide lunches to a mental health organization in St. Paul called People Incorporated. We provide lunches for low-income students at nearby Century College and have endowed a scholarship for low-income students at that same community college. Our Global Climate Action Committee advocates for governmental action to address climate change, and our church has been certified by the UUA as a Green Sanctuary congregation. Every June, we actively participate in the Twin Cities Pride Parade. In 2017, our congregation chose to become a sanctuary church, and the following year, we welcomed a family from Guatemala and housed them for a year. Our Gun Sense Action Group works closely with the statewide nonprofit organization Protect Minnesota in calling for gun safety reform through legislative action. In January 2020, for the 11th straight year, our church hosted an MLK Interfaith Community Breakfast and Program for the Northeast Suburbs. For many years, our congregation has focused on issues of homelessness and affordable housing. Since its inception decades ago, we have supported a local transitional housing organization called Solid Ground. Every September for the past 10 years, as part of an interfaith program called Project Home, we have transformed our church into a temporary shelter for families experiencing homelessness. To address the lack of services for homeless youth in our area, we helped start the North Star Youth Outreach Center, currently housed at Maplewood Mall, and offering laundry and computer facilities, snacks, and basic supplies, as well as referral information for other services. Thanks for this opportunity to share a brief overview of some of the justice activities at the White Bear UU Church.
Hello, friends. My name is Karen Herring. I am Associate Minister at Unity-Unitarian, and I have been asked to give you a brief report on what we are doing in the area of social justice at Unity right now. As I believe is probably true for many of you, we are trying very hard to find a balance between action and reflection and learning, and trying to find that way in which we can engage in transformative justice work that is transforming us in our hearts as well as transforming the world in very real ways. And so some of the things we have been doing is this past fall, we had a 7-part series for our congregants on equity and justice. It was led by an organization called Team Dynamics and Alfonso Wenkler. And we did it every Tuesday night for 7 weeks. And each of these programs took us deeply into the kind of work that is not only self-examining, but also outwardly oriented in organizing for change in the world. We had more than 200 of our members participate in this series, and so we're really now looking at how to carry this learning forward in a way that I think will likely have a very long-term and deep impact on our congregational life and our work in the world. We also, following George Floyd's murder in the summer, we have a number of members who are engaged in the Peace Circle process in the Rondo neighborhood around our church. And so we used that process to organize 2 peace circles, held online, of course. But these were intentional spaces created to listen to one another and our concepts around community safety and the way that those experiences of community and public safety often are very different according to our race, our gender identity, and a number of other factors. And so these circles were specifically organized to bring diverse voices into this process, and it gave us a chance to hear from one another how those experiences are different. And the circles also engaged several police officers in a way that gave us a chance not to reach for solutions yet, but to hear one another and to simply sit with the discomfort of the difference in our experiences of public safety. Of course, we were engaged in UU the Vote and this kind of electoral work, but that gives you a little bit of a snapshot. The one other thing that I will say that we are doing is to we have an artist in residence program, and Marcus Young has been joining us with several of his collaborators, and they have been leading us through some embodied practices online, of course, but in a way that we expect will prepare us for stepping into this moment for social change in embodied ways that are empowered and that are also intended to make space for something new that is not violent. So these are a few of the things we're doing. I am grateful for MUUSJA'S work and look forward to hearing what you are all doing.
Hi, I'm Chuck, this is Kelly, and we're from Dakota UU Church, and we want to just say thank you so much to MUUSJA for all your work and also keeping us informed of that work. And just wanted to highlight a few things that our membership has been involved in lately. Sewing masks for the mask shortage over the summer, and knitting and crocheting hats and scarves for the homeless. We have an election judge, we have food shelf volunteers, and we've had volunteers standing in solidarity with the Bloomington Mosque. And Kelly's going to talk about a couple other things that we've done.
Yes, thanks. In 2008, our youth group that we had back then raised some money, and we started off with $200, and we used that money to make micro loans through Kiva. And the micro lending program that they started has been really a wonderful focus of our fundraising events. Over the years, since 2008, we have raised over $1,400, almost $1,500 that we've been able to loan. And when the loans get repaid, we've been able to turn those back into new loans. So we've actually loaned over $8,000 in total into 34 countries. We've made 86 loans, and 79 of them have been repaid. Another thing that we've done just in the last couple of years is something called Common Good. It's an organization in Burnsville, Minnesota, which is where our church is located. It's a faith-based initiative that facilitates personal friendships across religious, ethnic, racial, and all other boundaries through conversations, sharing of stories, and engaging in community events. We celebrate our shared values and strive to be nonpartisan, non-judgmental, and anti-racist, and genuinely be concerned for the common good.
So one of the things we've done on our Sunday services, and especially our discussions, has been kind of learning and growing in our understanding of our white privilege and how that fits into the current culture of white supremacy.
Choosing not to see racism is a privilege that many of us have experience with, and many of us don't want to make waves, but now is not the time to be silent. Silence is not an option. If we don't do something to address this, the white supremacist narrative will persist. We must use our privilege to move towards a more just society and follow the lead of the people who are most affected by making space for our BIPOC colleagues in this community to not just survive, but to thrive. White folks, please do not choose the safety of being white over a more just society. Thank you.
Thanks so much, MUUSJA, and happy holidays and safe holidays.
Hi, I'm Reverend Thompson from Minnesota Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. The pandemic has certainly been a challenging time for all of us, but I am happy to report that we've still been able to engage in some of our social justice and racial justice work. Last spring, we were planning on hosting homeless families through Beacon Interfaith Housing Collaborative's Families Moving Forward program on site in our building. The families would be staying with us for a week, and we would be supporting them, providing them meals and activities during the week. We weren't able to do that because of the shutdown and stay-at-home orders, but we were able to raise money to buy groceries for them for the week and help to pay their hotel bills for that week. So we were happy to be able to stay in relationship and still be able to do that good work. We've also been working a lot on racial justice and deconstructing white supremacy. We just finished a great book study and practice group on the book My Grandmother's Hands. We were working with the UU Congregational in Eau Claire and UU Church of Minnetonka. One thing that the pandemic has afforded us is a more open invitation to work collaboratively with other congregations, and we're really excited about doing work with other congregations right now. We're also in the middle of a Black film series and discussion group with those congregations as well. It's been terrific work. What we're looking forward to is we're launching a Rise Against Hunger campaign on December 1st. It's very ambitious. We hope to raise $50,000 in 50 days to combat hunger. The problem right now is especially urgent as the pandemic takes an economic toll on those most marginalized and vulnerable in our communities. So we are very hopeful about being able to do that. One thing that I'm really looking forward to, though, is really doing more collaborative work with other congregations, if that's possible. I hope MUUSJA can maybe help foster some of that. I know they already do some of that work, but this is a great time of learning how we can all come together and work together on those issues and those things that are most important to us to keep our faith in action every day. So I'm grateful for MUUSJA. Thank you for all the work that you do in helping us to do that.
Hello, I'm Ozzie Myers. I'm president of the St. Cloud UU Fellowship. This is my second year as president. We decided this year, because of the COVID pandemic, to ask all the officers to serve a second year. Some of the things that we are going to try to implement in the coming years is a continuation of our examination of this building. The membership has increased to the extent that we were at the capacity level on Sundays for services, and therefore needed to either find a new building or to renovate our current one. So we formed a housing alternative committee who very diligently searched out alternative buildings as well as renovation plans. And to that end, they were able to get bids on what it might take to renovate this building. We then proceeded to consult with some agencies in terms of helping us develop a capital campaign. And that's kind of where we were when the COVID pandemic started. What we have continued, however, is confronting issues of anti-racism, and to that end, our president-elect organized a leadership retreat at which she invited James Addington, who wrote Tragic Investment, about how organizations can examine their racial systems. Organizations oftentimes promote a process of exclusion that we could remedy. And so I'm looking forward to applying some of his insights to our own fellowship. We also have a very active social justice committee that is moving us forward toward examining issues within our larger community, racial issues in our larger community. We also are hoping to create an anniversary celebration for the fellowship, which was established in 1961. Therefore, in 2021, we'll be celebrating our 60th anniversary. We're hoping that we can create perhaps interviews and also photos that we can incorporate into a virtual celebration. I look forward then to joining others on December the 3rd at the annual MUUSJA retreat, and we'll be there to celebrate the organization.
Hello, friends. I'm the Reverend Clement from First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. Congratulations, MUUSJA, as you've reached your annual meeting, and a hearty thank you for all you do for Unitarian Universalists and partner organizations around the state, and especially for your work during UU the Vote. You made a huge difference. I want to let you know some of the things that are happening in the social justice program at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis during this weird COVID year. As always, our Active Voices group meets weekly to help us advocate for justice. They craft messages and then tell us how and with whom to share them for maximum effect. We invite you to join our work. We post weekly updates with our messages in the Facebook group, Unitarian Universalists in the Twin Cities. And from there, you can link onto our Google Doc and find the weekly message. Our climate justice team continues to meet in working groups, and we're hoping that we'll have another online event sometime around Earth Day. As a member congregation of Align Minneapolis, we continue our commitment to support people experiencing homelessness. Align's emergency rental assistance program helps keep people housed, and our Street Voices of Change group helps put people with lived experience of homelessness at the table where decisions are being made at the city, county, and state level. This fall, Operation Share the Warmth provided coats to more than 100 students at the Love Works Academy, which shares our building on Mount Curve Avenue. We are delighted to be in partnership with this charter school, and we're grateful for donations from our members and also from Land's End for these coats. We continue the work of dismantling white supremacy culture in two important ways. Watching Race is a bi-monthly Zoom gathering to discuss films that hone our response to racism. And our Moving Toward Equity team leads our congregation in the work of adopting the 8th principle. We join with congregations throughout the country for this much needed change within the Unitarian Universalist Association. And lastly, we are community partners of the Unrestrict Minnesota campaign and continue as plaintiffs in the lawsuit to overturn state mandates that restrict access to abortion in Minnesota. At First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, we aspire to make the change we need for a more just, compassionate, and peaceful world. To learn more, we invite you to visit our website and/or our Facebook page. Thanks so much for all you do.
Maybe July or August, joined up with the Green Sanctuary Recertification Group. And that focuses on recertification with the emphasis on climate mitigation, adaptation resiliency, and climate justice. I think it's really critical work in order for us to have a healthy environment and for everybody, especially people of color, Indigenous people, and low-income folks, because they are often the ones that live, work, and play the closest to highly polluted areas or areas that don't have the resources. It's not always so obvious, you know, the connections between our everyday lives and these bigger issues. Yeah. And so having a guide to help make those connections is often really useful. There is this connection because other groups in UU are working on the same thing, and we have connections through different websites and meetings and that kind of stuff.
I've been part of the UU Vote, Get Out the Vote campaign. I've written letters and postcards, and I have a stack of postcards to send to people in Georgia. In this process of social justice work, we're always learning, and we come in at a certain level of understanding, and I try to remember that when I think of people who don't think the same way I do. There's growth in all of us, and we grow so much more working together than if I was trying to do this on my own. The love beyond belief, kind of like we need to spread our love beyond just our beliefs, but into action. The idea of intersectionality with oppressions and how that is exponentially affects people rather than just adding different oppressions on. And then I think, well, kind of the social justice work that I've been involved with, hopefully when we work together like that and we intersect our ideas and our efforts, that we're going to have exponential effect on the world, spreading that love more.
I think being UU means always being kind and maybe not always entirely selfless, but really striving to see the good in everyone, and to make the world a little bit of a better place as often as you can. As the founder of the GSA, or Gay Straight Alliance, at my school, so many people from the UU really encouraged me to do that, and helped me figure out ways to strategize and fundraise and organize. If you have an idea like that and you have the capacity for, you know, like the time and energy and such to do that, that it's like a moral responsibility. And even if to not like officially make a club, but just to be working in those ways.
The fellowship gave us a way to express and explore those parts of our life with others who shared similar values, and in a community where it was difficult to find others. Being able to talk with others about diversity as part of the growth of one's spirit and part of one's development is a valuable thing.
I think social justice is really central to Unitarian Universalism, even though sometimes it seems like it's a committee. It's not really a committee. It's a core practice or voice or work of Unitarian Universalism, because we talk about our principles, not just affirming them, but promoting them. So social justice is a way of promoting our principles. So that's what attracts me to social justice and within Unitarian Universalism.
The program that I worked most on recently was the Transgender Initiative. And that was an initiative that our community, or that we took in-house to educate our own selves about transgender issues, and then to go out to the community and sponsor a speaker. And I became interested in this issue when I heard Ellie Krug, the speaker that we invited in, when I was a guardian at Lightham and doing training, and she came in and spoke. Last summer, 2019, we began working to bring her in, and also to work with UUA on educational materials, particularly materials that were created by transgender people. I think that's part of what church should do for you, is teach you things that make you more compassionate and understanding person. And I think that when you actually know people and feature people who can tell stories from the real world, stories of their experience, you can really help foster that compassion.
If Not Now, words and music by Carrie Newcomer. Please sing along with the chorus. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. Although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet we take the journey, we'll walk it hand in hand. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. We'll work it till it's done. Every daughter, every son, every soul that ever longed for something better, something brighter. And it will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. but miracles do happen every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. And miracles do happen every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when.
Here is your friendly executive director with a 30-second budget report. 54% of MUUSJA'S income comes from donors like you, and 22% came from grants this year. We are mission-driven, people-powered, and frugal. 86% of our income goes straight for expenses. 64% is for staff and 22% for programs.
On behalf of the Board of Directors of MUUSJA, I wish to thank all of you for the collective power of your direct actions that has furthered the work of this Social Justice Alliance. We are lifted up by your time and talents that have made a personal impact, and through the relationships that have been fostered with our fellow congregations and community partners. We are sustained by your generosity of effort and commitment, and now we are asking you to sustain the work of MUUSJA through your financial generosity, your treasure. Generosity of giving relies on trust that your dollars are providing the means and the opportunity to make a difference, and MUUSJA has made every effort to ensure that your gifts have done just that. With a budget of under $90,000 and several part-time staff, we have shared with you what this organization has been able to do. Your financial gift, whether a one-time donation or a monthly sustaining gift, puts our UU faith into action. This is our UU movement. This is what we make of it. So we are able to stand for justice and peace and love. We hope that you feel called to give in whatever capacity you are able. On the screen, you will see 2 easy ways to answer that call. You can send a check to the address listed, or the easiest way is to go to MUUSJA.org/donate. The support from donors like you is what makes impact possible, and your generous support is vital to us to fulfill our mission, and is especially appreciated during this very challenging time. Thank you so much, and thank you for giving.